You now are listening to the audio podcast of Prisoners of Hope, the antidote to what ails your heart. I'm your host, Dr. Deborah Whitson. So come on in, pull up a chair, and open up your mind as you get ready to receive the download that hope will bring. Well, hey, it is a good day. It is Dr. D. And this is part 2 of my interview with Kimmy, and it gets real good. She describes a coming to Jesus moment where she calls Jesus, she has to come to Jesus, and he answers. So check it out and enjoy. So you were asking your mother to spend 2 hours, 2.5 hours in the car?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
right.
And then wait for me outside in the cold while they have the meeting to make sure that she was there on time so that I wouldn't be left. It wasn't saying I'm going to be done at this time. It's done when the meeting's over. So if the manager wants to talk to the group and for half an hour, she has to sit there in the car.
No, Kimmy, I think you skipped a chronological step. No, you were asking your mother to bring you flows earlier at the beginning of your shift and go back home and return and wait for you. Wow. Okay.
And then I threw it in her face saying, well, now you don't have, now I'm not going to even want to be in the car with you. Yeah, that was ridiculous. Nonetheless, we had our meeting, and I was going to ask one of my coworkers, because usually they would stay next to me and they say, hey, where's your mom? Well, I was looking for a person in particular to ask for a ride home, but they left. And then when I looked for someone else to ask, that I was more closer to, he left as well. And then I was thinking, oh no. And then everybody left. And then soon I was just in the parking lot by myself and with a cell phone that had no battery. um, my cell phone died on top of it. So I was there, still covered in sand, dressed not very appropriately in a bikini with a thin see-through black knit jacket.
With platform heels, so you look like a prostitute, didn't you?
Yeah, I did not look very, very great. I mean, aren't you? At the time, I was very thin, so I mean,
So a very well, figured prostitute.
yeah. I just want to state that because that's something I'm still working on. I mean, I don't look that good anymore, so I just want to make sure.
Wow. Okay.
Well, that that at least I was fit for it. So, but
But
anyway,
Kimmy, as you continue the story, the listeners
uh-huh.
will find out is it didn't matter how fit you were.
Oh, right. Mhm. Yeah. Oh,
So tell us what
I
happened. Everybody was gone, and how far is
was,
Guitar Center from where you guys lived at that time?
I would say about 20 minutes in a car.
Wow.
Now, location where it was at, it was not a very great location at all. We actually would have bums and, well, not, I don't mean to say bums, but that was the term back then that they used.
Mhm.
They were doing drugs. So it's not just transients, it was people that were doing drugs and drinking
Mhm.
in our parking lot. So I just wanna say,
Wow. Okay.
retrace my steps to say that. And, they were doing that, and we would always have to call the police to kick them out from the parking lot, but that was something very scary, and I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh." And, the stores next to us, they even shut down, so it wasn't even very lit. It was kinda like this little alley area. And so I was thinking, "Oh, no, what did I get myself into?" And then from this, I had this inner dialogue that started this whole long walk. It was thinking like, "What did I do?" Like, really, I got myself in a big pickle because I'm not dressed very appropriately, and I have to walk home in the cold and in an area that, something could happen to me. And so I started having this battle of the mind, of where I'm saying, I hope something happens to me, because then I was still, I was going from being mad at myself to projecting and saying, no, it's my mother's fault.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
it actually started with, you know what? I'm mad at her. It's her fault that I'm in this situation. It's her fault. Even though I was the one who told her, don't pick me up, you know, I did that. I mean, the reason why I said this, 'cause I didn't want her to be yelling my ear off in the car, which I totally deserve. And so I was thinking to myself, I hope someone picks me up. I'm gonna get into the car with somebody.
Mm.
I'm gonna get in the car with a stranger, and you know what? If something happens to me, oh wow. Because who cares anyway? Because if she really cared, she would have been like, "No, I'm gonna pick you up and yell at you." That's it. And that's what I was expecting. I wanted the attention for her to be like, "No, I'm the parent. You're still learning. What you did was dumb,
Mm.
and I'm gonna be educating you on why that was dumb so that you make better choices."
Mhm.
But instead, I led myself into this really bad, predicament, and I eventually, when this was happening, I was walking down the street, cars were honking, and I was thinking, "Oh my gosh, I hope something happens." No, I don't. And then I came to the part where I just reached out to God.
Mhm.
Now, um
No, but before that, what did you think? You said now this is very interesting because Kimmy told me this story before. She said,
mm,
"Well, if I get killed, that'll teach her."
oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's true. I did say that in my mind, and I was thinking, "You know what? Even if someone, like, hurts me and then throws me in a ditch, well, you know what? She deserves it because obviously she didn't care." I mean, I was so fixated on making it a problem with my mother versus taking ownership of it. And so I said that, and so I saw some cars that were honking and saying, "You wanna ride?" And, I'm like, "No, no." And then, again, I was having this inner dialogue saying, "Oh, do it." And then something changed. All of a sudden, I think almost like a realization happened where I said, "Wait a minute, I have to stop." And I said, "God." And I haven't talked to God in a long time, you know. And so I said, "You know my heart. Don't listen to what I'm saying or even what I'm thinking. Listen to my heart." And I never did that before.
Wow.
And I something very, very
Wow.
profound and powerful in my life. And I said, "I know I'm saying stuff. I know I'm thinking bad things, but I do not wanna die. I don't wanna end up in a ditch. I don't wanna end up on the news
Mhm.
over a fight of me not being responsible." And when I did that, I said, "You know what? Send me an angel. Please send me a group of angels because I don't know how I'm gonna get home." Because by the time it was already nighttime, I was in the dark, in a dark alley area. And I said, "You know what? Something could really happen to me. What am I doing?
It's
Is
like
it
that
my
haunted movie, the haunted movie you're
Mhm.
watching, and it's all dark and it's an alley, and you're screaming at the TV, "Don't go down there! Don't go."
Yeah, right.
And here you were in that situation. You had to go down there to go home.
Mhm. No, absolutely. Now, eventually, I would run into, like, the area would eventually lead into, like, a lit area with stores, but still, I didn't I was just fixated that, I was angry and I had this thing going on that I wasn't even thinking about. Let me go into the store to call somebody. I mean, I didn't really even get to that area.
Wow.
So, um so again, I'm having this, battle of the mind, and I said, "God, listen to my heart. Send me an angel. Send me a group of angels, so that they can protect me. I don't want something bad to happen, but I'm so angry. Don't listen to my anger. Listen to my heart." And that's when, um, you know, I I made a bad decision because another car shortly showed up, like maybe about 5-10 minutes later. And I said, he stopped, and he looked well dressed. He looked
Mhm.
well dressed, and he had it almost looked like he worked at a bank.
Mhm.
He had a work shirt on and a tie, nice car, and he was like, "Hey, do you need a ride?" And I said, "Yes."
Mm,
And I was shocked that I even said that.
mhm,
And so when that happened, um, I just got in. And so and then when I got in, I said, "Uh-oh, what did I do?" And then I was thinking, "God, please, I did something bad." And he asked me, "Oh, so where do you need to go?" And you're like, "What happened?" And I said, "You know what?" And I told him about what happened, that I got in an argument with my mother. It was really dumb.
mm.
And he's like, "Well, you know what? Do you wanna get some coffee?" And I said, "Phew." And, I was thinking, "Oh, thank God." And he 'cause he said, "You wanna get some Starbucks?" I said, "Sure." Now, granted you, what's so interesting is how the rest of this story plays out is because, when we showed up to Starbucks, it was closed.
Mm,
It got late. Now for Starbucks to close, now we're heading, like, around 9 o'clock
mhm.
or 9:30.
It's already 10
And
o'clock. Mhm, mhm,
so, um, I we showed up to the Starbucks, and the barista there said, "Hey, I know you. You're the Guitar Center girl."
mhm,
And he's and I said, "Oh, hey, yeah, I know you." And then the guy looks at me and he was saying, "Wow, you are telling the truth."
mm,
And and I said, "Yeah, look at me." And then I pinched my jacket and I said, "Look it, there's sand coming off my jacket."
mhm,
I said, "I am not lying. Look at this is a bikini that this is not clothes." I said, I have my boogie board in the the Guitar Center office."
mhm.
And he wow. And he's like, "Well, you know what? It seems like, um, that unfortunately we can't get coffee. Do you really just want me to take you home?" And I think and then I said, "Oh, yes, please." And then he's like, "Wow." He's like, "I" he didn't say that he didn't believe me, but he's like but his response was, "You were telling the truth."
Wow.
And I said, "Yeah." So, we were talking about that, and so he's like, "You know what? I'll just take you home." So we're driving, and, we get down to the street, where I live on, and as we're approaching a couple of houses away from my house, I told him something. I said, "You know what? I don't know if you believe in God, but
Mm,
I really want to thank you because, I've never taken a car ride from a stranger, nor will I ever after this night. But I'm thankful that it was you because, things could have been really bad." I said, "It was very scary, and I'm not one to do something like this. I'm a good person. I just made a really bad choice." And he said, "Oh," he's like, "Okay, oh, you're welcome, just be safe." And I said, "Well, I want to ask you if you believe in God because um I don't know if this might sound crazy, but I asked him to send me an angel." And then right when I said that, his car stopped. And I was thinking immediately, "Oh my gosh, I offended him. Uh-oh, what did I do?" And his jaw dropped and he just looked at me and then he said, "You said what? What did you ask God?"
mm.
And again, I was just my inner person, my little me was like, "Mayday, mayday, SOS, oh."
Mayday! I can run for the house.
Yeah, "Run." And I was like, "Grab grab the handle, exit, exit." And I'm like, "Uh, do I still talk or do I?" And then I'm like, yeah, I did. I did ask him to send me an angel." And then he actually said, "I can't believe, you said that because I have something to tell you." And I'm like, "Uh-oh, okay, what? What?" And he's like, "My name is Angel." And I'm
Wow.
like, "Oh." And I
Wow.
couldn't and you know what? I didn't believe it either. As much as he didn't believe that I was some person that had a bad experience from the beach, I didn't believe that his name was Angel. So I said, "You know what? You know what? I won't tell anybody that you picked me up, to give me a ride home. I mean, you might just be a super nice person, but or whatever, but you know what? Can I see your driver's license?
Mm,
Promise I'll shut you down or whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, sure, sure, sure." He was all excited, because he was just like, wow. I mean, I don't think that person thought that God had a purpose for him.
wow.
You know, like, because like some people, if you're not very religious, I doubt people are thinking, I have this purpose, because we are told to be so many things and so conformed to this world
Mm,
that I think in that moment, I think he even felt that he was worthy of God's love and that he was an instrument of God.
that's right. It's so interesting. And God, He weaves. I look at God's handiwork as a quilt. And if you look
Mhm,
at a quilt, the top just looks so beautiful, but the bottom has a lot of threads. It looks like a crazy mess. And
mhm,
I call it a coming to Jesus moment. Both you
mhm.
and him had a coming to Jesus moment. I
Oh,
bet you, I pray that he's able to listen to this podcast here or something and be like, that's me, that's me. And he'll
oh, I
call me and I'll interview him and his thoughts.
mhm.
I mean,
Oh,
because
that would be wonderful.
that was meant for a message for both of you.
Mhm, absolutely.
It
And
it was a message that told you, number one, I'm real. Number two, I hear you. Number three, I'm close.
My hope is that this journey has been fruitful and you're able to take it and apply it to your life. Until next time, tune in again for the Prisoners of Hope podcast. God bless.